3 years into my retirement, I have to be concerned. That's not fair. That's not fair to me. Hands off Social Security!
Social Security is part of the fabric of this country, and it needs to be protected.
Families are breaking down, and millions of Americans are panicking about their future. Seniors are losing hope, and younger generations feel betrayed. It's all because Social Security is being pulled in every direction. More and more people need it. Less and less are funding it, and the system is running out of time. But the fact is that the system is failing the very people who need it most. From new laws in the system to personal stories. This video connects the dots to show you what's really happening and what it means for your future. We'll look at what's broken, who's hurting, and what we can still do to fix it. The year 2025 marks one of the most significant turning points in Social Security's recent history. It brings a wave of changes that will affect over 72 million Americans who rely on these benefits to survive. Look at this document. This is a brief fact sheet from the Social Security Administration, which outlines the important changes for 2025. The cost of living adjustment, or COLA, is set at 2.5% this year. That's down from 3.2% in 2024 and slightly below the decade average. What does that mean for retirees? It means that while their checks are going up, they may not be keeping pace with real-world inflation. For a typical retired worker, that translates to a $49 monthly increase, from $1,927 to $1,976. Couples will see about $75 more, and survivors, like widowed parents with children, will get about $92 extra a month. But with housing, healthcare, and food prices still rising fast, many feel it's simply not enough. Meanwhile, disabled Americans, who are already among the most financially vulnerable, will receive very little increases. A disabled worker with a spouse and children, for example, will now get $2,826 per month, just $69 more than last year. But here's where things get more complicated and, honestly, more controversial. Eligibility rules are shifting. Let's have a look at this article from the Daily Economy. Thanks to the newly passed Social Security Fairness Act, some retirees who also receive government pensions will finally stop seeing their benefits unfairly slashed. It's a long-awaited win. But, yeah, it comes at a steep price, which is a projected $20 billion annual cost to taxpayers. Now here's the part that's raising red flags. Access is being restricted, especially for the elderly, the poor, and the disabled. Due to budget cuts and staffing shortages, the Social Security Administration is closing 6 regional offices and laying off 7,000 workers. That's on top of already record-low staffing levels. Former Commissioner Martin O'Malley has warned of a system collapse if cuts continue. And if you're hoping to apply for benefits by phone in 2025, forget it. That option is gone. Millions of seniors will now have to either apply online or travel, sometimes more than 40 miles, to the nearest field office. Worse still, hiring freezes in disability determination services mean even longer wait times for benefits. We're talking about delays that, in the past, have literally been deadly. In 2023 alone, 30,000 people died waiting for a decision on their disability claim. All of this is happening against a backdrop of deep demographic and political pressure, less workers, more retirees, and a Social Security trust fund projected to run dry by 2033, slashing benefits by up to 21% if Congress doesn't act. This isn't just a policy update. This is a warning shot. The system millions depend on is being tested like never before. Some will gain, many will lose. And all of us are going to feel the ripple effects. Behind the headlines and legislative jargon, real lives are being reshaped by the Social Security changes of 2025. Here's a hypothetical story, which, when looking at the data, isn't hypothetical at all. In Ohio, a retired nurse, let's call her Martha Reynolds. Martha spent 40 years caring for others. She worked long nights in emergency rooms, missing holidays, never thinking she'd one day have to choose between paying for her heart medication or rent. For years, her Social Security benefits were reduced because of an outdated policy penalizing public service workers who also earned a pension. But this year, the Social Security Fairness Act finally reversed that penalty. Now, Martha gets her full benefits. But the relief is bittersweet. "It's what I earned and deserve," she says. "It's not a bonus." After decades of service, it feels less like a win and more like a long overdue correction. Meanwhile, a Vietnam veteran living in Arizona, let's call him Robert. Robert is watching his monthly check slowly lose ground to inflation. The new 2.5% COLA for 2025 offers him just enough to cover an extra tank of gas. But not the rising cost of his insulin or the sudden hike in property taxes on his modest home. They call it an increase, he says, but it sure as heck doesn't feel like one. And then there's Sarah, a 47-year-old marketing manager in Michigan. She's part of a growing group of Gen X caregivers. If we look at the average household data, it seems that she's juggling work, her teenage daughter, and her 76-year-old father, whose long-term care is draining what little savings he has left. "We're not even thinking about retirement," she says. "We're just trying to keep the lights on, for him and for us." For Sarah, watching her dad struggle to apply for Social Security online was a wake-up call. In 2025, applying by phone is no longer an option for retirees. Instead, applicants must either navigate a glitchy website or travel miles to the nearest field office. Those offices are now understaffed, overcrowded, and in some cases, shut down altogether. One policy change, one missing option. And suddenly, millions of seniors are locked out of the system they spent a lifetime paying into. And these stories aren't rare. Honestly, they are multiplying. Lines at Social Security offices are stretching longer. Online systems are buckling under demand. And those who can't wait, those with failing health, limited mobility, or, no internet, are being left behind. This is the human cost of policy decisions made in distant chambers. And it's why understanding these changes isn't just about numbers on a page. It's about names, faces, and futures at stake. What was once seen as America's most reliable contract is now the source of its deepest generational divide. On one side, baby boomers, many already retired, or, getting close to it, are defending the benefits they spent a lifetime earning. On the other, younger generations like millennials and Gen Zs are skeptical the system will be there for them, even as they fund it with every single paycheck. A 2024 survey found that 30% of Gen Z supports cutting benefits for retirees to save the system. And what did boomers do? Just 3% supported it. The result is town halls erupting in tension. Protesters shouting, "Hands off our Social Security," while others counter with, "Stop stealing our futures." What used to be a shared safety net is now, a battleground of blame. But the fault lines go beyond age, they run straight through Washington. Democrats push for raising payroll taxes on high earners. Republicans want to raise the retirement age and cut future cost of living increases. Neither side has the votes. Both accuse the other of endangering the program. And while they argue, time runs out. According to new projections, the Social Security Trust Fund will hit a critical shortfall by 2033, triggering an automatic 21% cut in benefits unless reforms are made. Ironically, even well-meaning legislation, like the 2025 Social Security Fairness Act, has moved the clock forward by 6 months. That's a short-term win for fairness at a long-term cost. Former Social Security Commissioner O'Malley didn't even stutter when he said that. This is a system on the edge of collapse. That collapse isn't just financial, it's emotional. Fear is everywhere. 52% of Americans now worry a great deal about Social Security's future. Most Gen Zers don't know their full retirement age, guessing 54 instead of 67. And across all age groups, trust in the system has eroded under the weight of staffing cuts, glitchy websites, and multi-hour hold times on outdated 800 numbers. One young activist summed it up like this: "Why should we protect a system we're not allowed to understand and may never benefit from?" But here's the truth. No single generation is to blame, and no generation will be spared. The longer we wait, the more painful the fix will be. This isn't just a generational rift, it's a leadership failure. And the cost isn't measured in dollars, it's measured in hope. The real crisis isn't just about dollars and deadlines. Behind the numbers are people. Parents, veterans, nurses, and caregivers. They're all holding on by a thread. The warning signs are here. The cracks in the system are turning into collapse. And the longer we wait, the harder and more painful the solution will be. Here's the bigger picture. This isn't just a policy failure, it's a moral one. If we don't protect the most vulnerable now, who will protect us later? What kind of future are we building if even the most fundamental safety net isn't working? We still have time to fix it, but if we stay divided, we all lose.